Coach Justin Feldkamp, ABC 13 in Virginia. Touching upon a prior comment you made about the one-and-dones, and you said you would consider that. It wasn't we'll take a one-and-done in a heartbeat. Kind of describe your philosophical approach to recruiting. And I was just talking to the players. They say a lot of the guys have the blue-collar underdog mentality. Do you look for that in every single one of your recruits? And say a one-and-done stud comes your way and maybe doesn't fit every single one of those parameters, would you still take him?
Well, I haven't had a chance to recruit a one-and-done, so I don't know. But there's a lot of guys that are that talented, that are blue-collar and that hungry, of course. You don't want to take a guy if you're not sure about the character, or if he just is – it's just – I'm not about trying to, I just want to use this as a touch point and I'm gone. You want a guy who wants to come and be a part of making a team great, whether it's for a year or two. And we look for, not everything has to be checked off the box, but we do look for character first. We look for toughness, and so if there was a guy who was that talented, who was interested in us, absolutely I'd go after that. But if there was a guy who, that didn't fit, I would not go after a guy.
Back of the room, far left.
Tony, David Teal from Newport News. When Coach Izzo was in here, he described your post-game encounter last year at the Garden and said you remarked to him, that's the way the game is supposed to be played. The disappointment in the result aside, was there kind of a mutual respect because of the way they played, and was it almost like looking in the mirror, that blue-collar approach that Michigan State brings?
And I wasn't saying that it's not. There's so many, I've said this, there's so many different ways to play. It was just, I enjoyed that physical. It was tough. There wasn't anything easy. And it's just what I've been brought up on. I believe what he believes, and it was a hard-fought game. So, again, there's so many different ways, but it wasn't, that game was not sloppy. It was hard-fought. So, I think that's what I meant by that. And finished it. What was the question part? I kind of got off track.
Well, just was it almost like looking in the mirror?
Oh, yeah.
So you go back with Izzo.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're similar programs. I mean, they run more than us, of course. They do different things, but I think we value a lot of the same things. Like we talked about, you mentioned blue collar, just a tough mindset. Kind of that idea, the whole, the cohesiveness, touching greatness in concert with others. You need that, and you have to have talent. There's no question. You guys can see it in their team. You can see it in our individuals, but that ability to try to do something special and go beyond requires a level of toughness on both ends of the floor, and guys that are bought into that. So I think we both subscribe to that idea.
To our right, Coach.
Yeah, Frank Hanran, WSA 9 and DC head coach. Justin Anderson, he's a guy maybe in the NBA next year. Just his return and what it means, because he looked pretty spry yesterday. Yeah,
that was good to see. He, he just to see him have a shot go in and see him moving better and get a block, that was important. Again, everybody asks, is he full strength? As much as he's missed, he can't be, but he's certainly closer. And to see him have some success in that game and give us a lift like that, I was really happy, because I know how his attitude has been unbelievable through this, but how much he's wanted to get out there and show some, that, hey, I'm back and I can help this team in a positive manner, and he did that, and he was so excited about helping the team. And, he's very important. We need all of our guys to be right.
Again, to our right.
Tony, over here, Rob Carlin, Comcast Sportsnet. Tom Izzo said that he wants his team to stay focused because he knows that you guys are going to run that shot clock down and the screens and stay focused throughout each possession. Are you stressing to your team, because watching them make or miss, it's two passes, sometimes the ball is hitting the floor and they're at the other rim.
Yeah.
You miss a shot, make a shot, get back on defense against this team.
You have to, yeah. That's if you can't get back, it can be a really long day, because again, I mentioned teams in our league that are like that, the Carolinas and the Dukes and others, that discipline of doing that well. I mean, that's why I said we're not the same. We don't go down the floor like that, but of course, transition defense, and that's why they've been good as of late. And when they've had success, it's when even yesterday when they have got down the floor, make, miss. Sometimes off free throws they kind of do the whole thing, and that's a discipline, something that we know is the first key. That's where our defense starts in the transition. So you won't see many better than, I think, the way Michigan State can go.
Again to the right.
Tony, Steve Reed from the Associated Press. When you saw the brackets come out, and obviously these are the guys that put you out last year, did you look at them and say, well, good, we're going to get another shot, or were you like, oh, it's Michigan State again in the second round? What was kind of your attitude when you saw that? I know you were looking at one game at a time, but as you were kind of maybe looking at the big picture.
Yeah, well, you saw, first, like I said, you usually do look at those. You look at your first game, and all right, if we win Georgia or Michigan State, and he said, if we get by a dangerous Belmont team, we're going to have our hands full. Because I watched Georgia play against Kentucky. I saw them, and, of course, knowing how well Michigan State, having watched Michigan State in that Big Ten championship, I said, man, they're playing really good basketball. That will be, you'll have to be at your best. So I certainly, I didn't have a, it's not like, oh, revenge, we got to get that, or uh-oh. It's just, if we get there, then hopefully we can play at a better level than we did last time we saw them.
Middle of the room.
Thanks. Coach, could you just talk a little bit about Brogdon, not just as a player and his competitive fire, but just he seems to be a very unique person.
Yeah, it sure is. I've said this before. He really is a great ambassador for our program, for the University of Virginia, and even for college athletics. He's in the graduate school, the Batten School of Leadership at UVA, which is an incredible program. He's done so well academically. He just he's a lot of what's right, I say, about this game and college athletics. So he's become a great leader this year. I've loved that. He's very steady, humble, but competitive. One of the harder workers I've seen on his game. I mean, you wouldn't look at him and say he's just this gifted, natural guy. He's gifted with his frame, his strength, his hands, and all that, but he's kind of willed his way into being the player that he is, and that's just his mindset in all things. But I don't think people realize how hard this guy works on his game and what he's done, and he's the whole package. He really is. So that was he wasn't real highly recruited coming out, but that was an important get for us. I can remember that, seeing him at the Peach Jam. He's just the guy that, and we saw it right away in his first year. He got hurt at the end of the year, but he did some things. He handles the moment well, and his teammates love him. Those are the guys. When you have that saying, a coach-led team can be good, but a player-led team has a chance to be very good or great, and I think he has that ability to lead the team, and the guys respond to him. And he's making the most of his college experience. He really is, from an athletic standpoint, but certainly an academic standpoint, socially, and all those things.
Far left.
Aaron McFarling, Roanoke Times. I think we got a reminder last year when Gil went out how important he is to this team. Can you just talk a little bit about what having him at full strength in this matchup, hopefully for the entire 40 minutes, how important that is, and just, I guess, the physical nature of their post players against him?
Very important. That matchup was hard for us. We just didn't. Dawson, had his way. I mean, they had Payne, they had Dawson, and they have very good players again. But Anthony rolled his ankle in that game, and we had a hard time matching up. So we need Darion and Anthony, and certainly Mike. Mike didn't play as much in his last game, but this is a little more of it is more of a traditional size, traditional game. And then whether it's Isaiah, we used Evan as the 4. Our front line, our 4s and 5s have to be right in this game. It is, because it's such a physical rebounding game. There's a lot of ball screen, off ball screen set. They've got to be sharp and showing, and they've got to be engaged in what it'll take from a physical standpoint. So, and Anthony's one of our guys who can get on the glass, can draw some fouls. He can manufacture some buckets if he has room, and I know they'll certainly be guarding him well, but he's certainly a key, and when we've played well, he's been a big part of that.